What's up guys, Jameson here with the Road Trip Angler, and today in this video I'm going to be comparing these two rafts, the NRS Slipstream 96 to the Outcast Sporting Gear Striker. Both the Striker and the Slipstream are around 9.5 feet long and designed to fit in the bed of a pickup truck. They're also both designed for two anglers, but there are some differences, and before I get into all that, I want to discuss kind of what comes in each package and what they cost. Starting with the NRS Slipstream 96, it comes in two different package options. You have the standard package and the deluxe. As it sits here, we have it in the deluxe package, and the difference between those packages is about $1,000. The standard package is $34.95 and the deluxe package is $4,495. The standard package comes with the pump, the raft itself, and all the frame components. The deluxe package, however, is going to get you these oars that are from Kayak, along with the cutthroat Kayak blades. It's also going to give you the two rod tubes on the side so that you can store up to 9-foot fly rods. It comes with the anchor line and a 2-to-1 pulley system that's going to assist when you're lifting and lowering that anchor. And finally, it comes with a couple of cup holders that can be mounted in different places on the frame. I do believe that that deluxe package gives you a ton of value because when you part out all these pieces, the oars, the blades, the anchor line, the cup holders, and the rod tubes, you're well over $1,300 in gear, but you get all that in that package for $1,000 more than the standard package. Moving over to the Striker, it has an MSRP of $36.99. And with that, you're gonna get the seats, the frame that holds them together, the raft itself, the oars, and the oar locks, which is pretty much ready to hit the water. It doesn't have an anchor system, however, it does come with a few mounts that would make it easy to be able to add that. You would just have to get a little creative and probably buy a few more accessories that could mount to those plates. And the one thing that I feel like was missing from that package was the pump. The Striker comes in at 9 feet 5 inches long and 5 feet wide, which makes it 3 inches narrower and an inch shorter. It also weighs 102 pounds versus the NRS in the standard package weighs 130, and then in the deluxe package, as we have it here, it weighs 145. So the Striker is a little bit smaller raft, a little bit lighter weight, and I have to say that it's a whole lot easier to put together right out of the box and probably would be the better choice when it comes to transportation. So let's get into that. When it comes to transportation, I would have to probably give the win to the Striker because you could deflate this and take it apart very quickly and haul it in the back of an SUV or even in the trunk of a car. Whereas the NRS raft, once you put all this frame together, you're gonna have to, at the very least, take the frame off, haul that on a roof rack, and then you can pack the tubes and the raft itself into the back of the car. Both of these boats were designed to fit in the bed of a standard pickup truck, but I will say at 5 feet 3 inches wide, we had to deflate the NRS Slipstream just a little bit. We were able to slide it into the bed of the truck, no problem. With the Striker only being 5 feet wide, we were able to slide that in without having to deflate any of the air out of it, so that did make it a little quicker and easier to load and unload out of the bed of a pickup truck. When talking about transportation, one place that I think the NRS raft actually shines over the Striker is that it has more handles. It has a handle on the front and back, which the Striker also has, but in addition to that, it has two handles on each side, and when you're loading that thing in the back of the pickup truck with two people, it seems to be a lot easier to me to grab it from the side and be able to slide it out, whereas we had to grab it from the bow and the stern on the Striker. Let me talk about the rigging on these two boats really quick, and by rigging I mean being able to add things like rod holders or anchor systems to the boat. The NRS raft in both the standard and deluxe package comes with a system that allows you to run that anchor line, whereas the Striker would need the addition of some other components. However, the one thing I do like about the Striker is that it comes with a few mounting plates, and you can move those mounting plates around a little bit because there's a couple of different areas that will accept them. And you don't have to glue them to the boat because it has like a pocket that plate can slide into. And then you can easily add stuff from a company called YakAttack or other companies like Scotty that have plates that will screw right into those. It will allow you to mount things like anchor systems, rod holders, cup holders, and things of that nature. Now on the NRS raft, because I have been fishing out of a kayak for a very long time and rigging boats is just second nature to me, plus I have access to a lot of really awesome accessories from YakAttack, I was not worried about drilling a couple of holes in this boat in the actual frame itself and mounting up some gear track so that I could add those camera mounts and also add a few rod holders, because I am going to conventional fish and fly fish from both of these boats. So in the deluxe package, you do get the fly rod holders, but if you want to have some fly rod holders in the standard package, or you want to add some conventional rod holders, that's something you're going to have to play around with and utilize that frame to be able to add those things where you want them. It's kind of a toss-up, but I do feel like you could rig out the NRS raft a whole lot more because of the frame, and you could glue those bases on. However, right out of the box, it was quicker for me to add a few plates on the striker because it did have those mounting plates in a few key areas. Now I want to talk about when you actually get on the water with these two rafts. Right out of the gate, they're both very stable. With two guys weighing over 200 pounds plus the same amount of gear on both rafts, I didn't feel like there was any instability at all, and I'm sure that they would handle mild water even though we paddled these in flat water due to the weather conditions and where the fish should have been at. And while I feel like both rafts are very close when it comes to actual stability, I would say that the NRS raft is going to kind of win in that category because you have a lot more confidence standing on the floor of this boat versus the floor of the striker. The floor of the NRS raft is that drop stitch technology, which allows you to inflate it all the way to 8 PSI versus 3 PSI, and that feels a whole lot firmer when you're standing on it, especially out on the water. In addition to that, it has that EVA pad on top, which is going to help you grip with your feet a lot better when it gets wet. And since both of these rafts are self-bailing, you will occasionally get some water coming up through the floor when you have splashes and whatnot. In addition to the floor being super rigid, I also have to say that having a frame that the seats are attached to and having those rigid aluminum thigh locks give you tons of confidence, and you just feel rock solid in this raft over this raft, which has a little bit of flex in it when you lean back in the seat, because ultimately the raft itself kind of becomes the frame that ties all that together. You also have an inflatable leaning post versus the aluminum thigh locks on the NRS raft. All that being said, I feel like both rafts are very stable, and it would just take a little bit more time getting used to the striker and how it feels under your feet, just because you do have a little bit more of a spongy floor because it can't be inflated all the way to the 8 PSI, and it doesn't have that drop stitch technology that NRS has. So that might be a win for sure for the NRS raft. When it comes to speed, you have bigger blades and more efficient oars on the deluxe package of the NRS Slipstream versus this is a little bit lighter boat at only 102 pounds, and you've got 145 in the deluxe package over here. So I feel like I could move them both almost exactly the same amount of speed upriver when I was trying to attain back up a little bit. Going downriver, I mean, speed really isn't a thing here. These boats are both designed to put in one location, take out in another location, and handle anything the river could throw at you in between. And they're both going to accomplish that goal pretty well. The next thing I want to talk about is durability. How durable are these two rafts? Well, I think both of them are very durable, but there are some things I really like about the Slipstream in that department. On the Slipstream, right off the bat, all the way around the top of it, it's been reinforced with another layer of material, especially where the frame sits on the raft, which is probably needed because you have this frame that goes all the way around the boat. On the striker, there are certain key places that have that second layer where the actual frame connects to the boat that you're sitting on, and around the D-rings and places like that. But in addition to those areas that go around the tubes, you have that EVA foam pad on the floor of the boat. And I think that's really gonna help because that is a wear point where you're gonna be standing a lot, you're gonna have sand and grime and dirt off your feet, but you also will probably be dropping fish hooks and things like that onto the floor of the boat. And it's just gonna give you another layer of protection and add a little durability to that. One of the key things, and probably the biggest thing about the NRS raft that I think was very smart on their part, was that on the bottom of each tube where it's gonna be dragging the bottom of the river the most, or where you're gonna be dragging when you're trying to access different places, they have added another layer of reinforcement. And then on the 4 locations where you're gonna get the most wear, they've actually added another layer. So they have 2 extra layers on top of the PVC material to really protect those key wear points. And I think that is a huge benefit on the NRS Slipstream. These things are probably why the boat, in addition to the frame itself, weighs a little more than the Striker. So is it a trade-off? I really like that this boat has been thought out and has a lot of those key places protected a little bit better. Now I want to jump into the value part of this. Which one of these are you getting the most for your money? Again, the standard package in the NRS Raft comes with all the frame components, the 2 seats, a pump, and the tubes itself. So everything that you need except for the oars. And that package is $3,495. Whereas the Striker in the package that it came in was $3,699 and did come with the oars. When I parted these oars out, they were about $160, $150 value, and a pump from NRS, or at least the pump that came with the NRS Raft, is about a $75 value. Now, when you talk about the deluxe package, that's a $1,000 jump from the $3,495, that's the standard package, but you get some really high quality oars and you're getting some other accessories that totally justify that price point. The other thing I would say about the standard package on the NRS Raft that kind of gives it a win over the Striker is that even in that package, it comes with a way to rig an anchor. Now you would need the anchor itself and some anchor line, and if you wanted to add that 2-to-1 pulley system, then you either have to buy that separate or jump up into that deluxe package. But the initial pulleys and the place to run the anchor line through the tube and the locking mechanism that allows you to lock that anchor line in place is already there for you. Whereas on the Striker, you're gonna have to buy some accessories and figure out a way to make that anchor system work. And I don't think it would be that hard, and they even offer some of those accessories, but it's something that you need to consider. And if you just look at what comes in the standard packages of both of these boats, you're gonna have to buy oars to take this one to the water, and you're gonna have to buy a pump in order to inflate this one and take it to the water. And I feel like those two things kind of offset each other if you're just comparing apples to apples. But here's what it comes down to. Which one of these boats is right for you? And I think it just depends on your situation. And where I really see the decision being made is how you can store the boat and what kind of transportation you have to get your boat to and from the water. If you're gonna have to deflate the boat and store it packed down, and you have an SUV or a car that you wanna be able to haul this in, well, the Striker is really the better option because it does come apart very easily and it can pack down very small, considering that it doesn't have a frame that goes all the way around the boat. But if you're someone that's gonna be using this boat a ton on the river and you have access to a pickup truck or a trailer and a place to store it, I think the NRS Raft is gonna be a little more durable and probably hold up over time a bit better because of that. So to recap quickly my thoughts on these two boats and which one might be for you, if you're looking for a boat that packs down very small and can be put together very quickly and even fit in the back of a car or in a small SUV, then the Striker is probably the right boat for you. But if you're looking for a boat that just screams quality from front to back and has more durability overall with all the reinforced areas, then the Slipstream 96 is probably the boat for you. I think overall, the frame, the extra durability, the stiffness in the deck, this is the boat that I would choose because I do have a pickup truck and I can leave this boat kind of halfway inflated and ready to hit the water. But if I needed to pack one down, then this is really the better option. And that's just a decision you're gonna have to make for yourself based on your situation. They're both great boats and they're both gonna get two anglers down the river very comfortably, very safely. And I think that you could have a lot of fun in both of these watercraft. Between these two boats, aesthetically, I really love the color combination on the NRS Slipstream, but both of them are available in the greens and they both come in a gray color. Side by side right now, the two boats that I have, I like the color combination of the NRS Slipstream, but that's really just personal opinion and you are gonna have to make that decision for yourself. I'm still pretty new to rowing these boats, so I would like to hear what you have to say in the comments. Which one of these boats is right for you and which one would you like to take out on the water? For more videos, including full reviews of both of these watercraft, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and as always, thanks for watching. Road Trip Angler would like to thank our global partners for helping support the mission to get people outside and on the water.